But you have certain students who, if you ask them a very, unique question, they answer just like that. But if you put them in front of a sheet of paper and say, if Johnny was at the train station at 9 a.m. and he has to go to Philadelphia about 11 a.m., it doesn't work. So our students aren't failing. What's failing is the system in which our kids are being forced to learn. The system is how we have been teaching our kids how to learn. Where does that go? We have a state board of education, a state school superintendent who mandates policy, and it goes back to the Capitol. We have people who are mandating our education. It comes directly from the state. So if we've been failing for so long, we've been under the leadership of our state superintendent for X amount of years, and the state has been intervening here and there, and we still haven't made it work, how are we going to actively solve these problems? Is OSD going to be the answer? I don't see that in the bill. And I've read the bill, I've done my homework on it, I've given more presentations than I like to. I'm kind of tired of talking about it. Like George said, we talk a lot about it. It's time that we actually start putting some things into action, which leads me to the answer to your question. The Democratic Senate proposed a solution to Opportunity School District. And it was what we refer, well, not we, it was the United Senate, but it's what they refer to as these community and schools model. You can go on YouTube and you can Google community and schools model. Because if I live in Richmond County, I can't tell you what you need in Columbia County. Right. If you are sitting behind the desk in Atlanta, there's no way you can tell me what I need in Richmond County for my kids. I don't have children. I have a sister in the system. I have a goddaughter in the system. I have nieces and nephews in the system. You can't tell me what they need. The solution that I would like to see come to pass is very simple. Number one is the vote. Voting no to Opportunity School District. Because for one thing, well, I won't say that, but anyways, voting no on Opportunity School District. That would then force our legislators to go back to the drawing board to show us what we actually, well, not show us, but we lead them into the process. The people who know what our schools need are the ones who are actively involved in our schools. Heritage Academy is a wonderful school, but they don't have the same problems that Jenkins White Elementary School has. Right. Cross Creek is an excellent school. Wonderful military science program in which I was honored to be the regimental commander for. That school has its problems, but their problems are not the same as a school like Middlebrook Elementary School. And so the solution that I would propose is that we all come to the table as a community, as legislators, as community stakeholders, and we have a true discussion. As we do tonight, I hope no one is perceiving this to be a group of an argument, because we're actually just discussing. That's how discussions work. But we come together and we discuss what the needs are for our schools. The principals have an active role in promoting success for their schools. They need to come up with their own school improvement plan and incorporate community support, parental support, and so forth and so on. And then whatever their problems are, they will be able to go to the state of Georgia and apply for grants to tackle those problems. Because schools like Glen Hills High School, and I keep going to Glen Hills High School, I had plenty of friends who attended Glen Hills, some students attended Glen Hills. The problem there isn't the curriculum that's being taught, but it's simply the gang problem. There's a major gang problem at Glen Hills High School. Well, there was, but I know that there's still members around at some point in time. Not only that, but there's problems in that. So if that's the problem in that school that's hindering our kids from learning, why not attack the actual problem versus attacking everything and just saying we need, this, that, and the other. And the average parent would say anything is better than what we're faced with right now in our schools. But I'll go right back to saying this again. If poverty is the problem with our schools, let's talk poverty. If economic development is a problem, is directly affecting education, let's talk economic development. Mm-hmm. Because the schools that are out here surrounding the Washington Road area, Washington Road period, looks nothing like Winter Spring Road. It looks nothing like Tobacco Road. It looks nothing like Willis Former Road. It looks nothing like Queensbridge Road. It looks nothing like East Valley. Nothing like Mayflower. So we're really going to, if that's the argument, and that's what the governor came out earlier this week and said, that this is strictly because we want to solve poverty. Let's talk poverty. So, but he may not have meant it. That's what he said. Well, hold on, Senator, I wasn't finished making my point. So, and I don't mean to cut you off, but my central point here is we need to identify what the actual problem is. If we want to say the problem is poverty or economic development, let's talk poverty and economic development.
It's the other way around. Poor education leads to no economic development, which leads to poverty.
Well, from my growing up, my experience, my mom grew up in poverty.
Right.
And because she grew up in poverty and we were surrounded by poverty, she didn't necessarily have as much time to sit down at the dinner table with us. She knew that we had to do homework. She told us to do it. She trusted that we did. My dad would come behind and check. But because economic development was so poorly in our area that we lived in, she spent more time at work than she did at home.
Right.
Not only did she spend more time at work than she did at home, but we spent more time with our grandma than we even spent at our own house, which was actually the next project over. And grandma didn't know anything about math or learning, and she didn't learn anything about language arts. So, you know, she spent more time at work than she did at home. So poverty may be directly attached to the education issues, but we need to talk about how we can get out of poverty. And you know, if that's the case, then we shouldn't talk about this being a major gumbo. We should pick out the specific pieces and address how we're going to solve those pieces.
And that's what the OSD was developed for. Exactly that thing. It was created to get those kids out of poverty.
But it doesn't tell us how.
And it's very unfortunate because I really think we actually want exactly the same thing. We just can't decide. The words in this bill are about that, bringing these kids out of poverty. The ones whose parents are working extra jobs, there's a portion of this bill, it does talk about, again, qualified partners, community engagement, who recognize that they need something different in these schools. They don't, all 127 don't need the exact same thing. But the other thing is these schools are just the family schools. 2,089 of these schools in the state. There are 127 of them, and Richmond County is not a Norman County, so we really can't have this conversation just like it's all about Laney Walker, because it's not. It's not, and it's very sad for those kids that are sitting in elementary school right now, and we're not giving them what we promised.
Thank you. I do want to get Ms. Cain to answer the question about because I do know that you oppose the OSD, so can it be achieved, is there anything that can be achieved via legislation?
Yeah, I think it is. First of all, I think if the state stop their shenanigans, we can do a good job. I feel in my heart we can do a good job. Again, we talk about profit, and that's not just a Richmond County, it's a Columbia County, it's a United States issue, profit.
It's a global
And if
issue.
anybody had a solution, there would be no problem. But one thing I do know, everything that bill said, in honesty, we doing now. So how y'all gonna do it better than we do? When we're doing it now, we have shared responsibility. We are collaborating. We have programs for parents. We have after-school programs. Again, we hate to tie money to anything. But there's one thing I can say. If you have a wife, she not stay with you, bro. She gonna leave. You have a husband, and he broke. Or well, vice versa. It's just not gonna work. The bottom line is the system is broke because the very people who have sat up there in Atlanta and made decisions on what is best for children and have not stepped foot in some of these schools to see that education and teaching is going on. Let us reduce our class sizes down to 17, maybe 15, and pay for it. Pay for a full-time teacher. Fully fund the pre-K program so every child in this state can go to pre-K. Not with a first-year teacher. The state forgot to tell you that. You can't have a veteran teacher teaching pre-K because the state don't pay for it. The program pays much lower. So you're getting a teacher who at the beginning of the best years of a child's life to learn, they can't have a better teacher. That's sad. Let us do what we know how to do. Let the teachers, let the school superintendents do what they need to do. Go away from all these shenanigans. Because every last one of them, some of you in here, about my age, and some of you a little younger, we are all successful. One, we were successful because one, we had parents who cared. And parents that were going to demand that you got an education. 4 jobs, 5 jobs, or whatever. They demand it. One, our teachers are not highly respected because they are paid lower. A kid with cyber experience can go work with a federal government making more money than a teacher with a 4-year degree. That's sad. So first of all, we don't even respect the teachers that work for us because we don't pay them enough. To say, we don't pay them enough, but you got all this on the other hand that you want them to do. Stop the shenanigans, let them teach, let them do what they went to school for 4 years to do, and that is teach children all the way around. If you really want to help, do something about Crowley. Because in Richmond County, we feed breakfast, lunch, and dinner. To keep them there long enough so we can give the interventions that are needed for these children. If you want to help, find a way to start programs for mothers with low income to be able to go in and to get a skill and to give those parents hope. You want to cut off the pipeline to prison? Quit digging the hole to put the pipeline in so the children to slide on down in the prison.
Whoa.
If you want to help. If you want to help, again, go back and help parents, grandparents that are 70, 80 years old, that are forced to raise their grandchildren. You want to help, let's put some programs in place to really rehab or give people who want an opportunity to get off of drugs and get their life together and become productive citizens and productive parents an opportunity. That's what you do.
If we
You
do
want to help,
those
no,
things.
if you want to help, the biggest thing, give me back my $3 million you cut from me this year, so I can take it and reduce my classroom sizes,
Yep.
and I can give my children what they need. Give me back my money so I can buy books. Give me back my money so I can buy buses.
How about paper?
Give me back my money so I can provide every child with a computer at his desk. These are things you do not pay for. Don't say you do it because you don't, because I
Thank
see
you.
it comes out of the local taxpayers' money and our 1% supply. You want to help? Give me back my 1.83 million you took. Give me back plus the 3 million you took this year. Fund education properly, which messing around with the formula, which you all are doing now, which is only going to result in more cuts. You really want the school system in Georgia to be #1? Work on those issues.
You have 19 of 127 schools.
Now,
We don't
I
want
don't care
to,
if we
I mean,
had 4.
but the point is, this is not, you have a lot of those schools. We want to help the kids. We don't really want to get into all that, because a lot of that you're talking about are statewide changes. And we certainly do, we've handled the grandparent stuff in juvenile justice. We had multiple bills this last year to handle grandparent stuff.
Those were a joke if you really look at it.
Okay.
Right, I mean, because
Who voted?
at the end of the day, I keep saying, no matter how many staff, and this is sometimes what folks do when there's something that's out of the ordinary, it's out of the box type thing. What's that first thing? I'm gonna bring fear to that program. Oh, it's a takeover. Hey, the governor's gonna do all these appointments and it's gonna be political and local control. We've sat here and we've listened at a lot of stats. But at the end of the day, she hasn't said anything that's gonna fix the 19 schools in just Richmond County. Now, if we say, not just Richmond County, but the state as a whole, as a parent. That's how I just, because, and I don't, I don't sit here and listen to it as a legislator. I sit here and I listen to it as a parent. If my kid was in a failing school, Josie High School, any of these schools that are on this list, or my grandmother, if she was on here, I don't think in good conscience I could look at myself in the mirror and say I did everything I could to improve the education for my kid.
60 of those schools that we keep mentioning, the 127 are, like I said before, in Metro Atlanta. Metro Atlanta. That's, this is the Metro Atlanta deal when I was a teenager, everywhere that I go. And funny thing about this is, those schools, you know, the area of Metro Atlanta, they aren't actively fighting this. They're actually for it. And we can kind of understand why they're actually for that. 80 of these schools are elementary schools. Our kids are coming into these schools unprepared. And so when we really look at the basis of this situation, you know, whether it's opportunity school district or whatever other plan that we have to make sure that we understand that we're addressing the problems that are at hand. And I think, like, you know, Representative Lott said, we all know what the actual problem here is, but, you know, no one is actively trying to solve those problems. We're bringing light to the problem. We continue to talk about what the issue is, but the state certainly hasn't done anything about our problems. And whenever you're looking towards the pie in the sky to solve all of your problems, maybe you should look in the mirror, like George said, and see who really needs to take an active role in solving these schools. And if you're running for office and you're sitting on the school board and you're doing all you can, I'm going to tell you one thing. I know for a fact, being on my job where I have higher ups that I have to answer to, it's very hard to get progress done when you have more powers working against you than you do for you. Let's talk. George, we're talking stats. Let's talk stats. Let's talk about how 85% of schools in Georgia, since we're taking the focus off of Richland County, because there are no schools in Richland County that are on this list. Let's talk Georgia. 85% of Georgia schools have increased their class sizes. If under the Opportunity School District they have the ability to lower their class sizes, why do we have to wait until then if that ability is already there to lower their class sizes? Take the brakes off of our teachers. Take the brakes off of our school system. And, you know, whether we're going to direct this to the legislators or we're going to direct this to our school board members or whoever the case may be, take the brakes off of the men and women who wake up every morning, put on their happy faces, and go try to save a life or try to affect a child. Let's take the brakes off so that our school bus drivers can have quality buses. I mean, everything is intertwined with each other. There's no way that we can take this and say that we're trying to turn it into fear, because if we're going to say we're trying to turn this into a fear conversation, then I can come back and say that we're trying to turn this into an emotional problem, into an emotional situation, because we're trapping our students in schools. And if we vote against this, we're trapping them in schools, and we're causing them to stay on this pipeline to prison. How dare we do that? But at the same time, we are still allowing the system to fail us time and time again. And my only thing here is this. Opportunity School District sounds great, but everything that I read about it does not make me want to go and vote for it. Because the bill, I mean, the opponents talk about how, I mean, the people who are for Opportunity School District, they talk about how this is going to, you know, work, how it's going to solve our problems, how it's going to help poverty, help this and help that. But the bill doesn't address that. It talks about who's going to have oversight over these schools. And if we really want to do it, let's come together and talk about the community. Why do we have to have legislation? You can't put legislation on the parent participating in the schools. You have to come to the table. We have to talk about actual solutions. Richland County does a work job. We're not talking about Richland County. Let's talk about those 60 schools are in Atlanta and those 80 schools on this who are the majority elementary schools. Let's talk about how certain areas are affected in certain ways for opportunity schools.
Thank you, Jordan. Yeah.